So how's it going, boss buddies? I hope everyone's had a fantastic week. I know I have. Now I thought it'd be fun to put together a top 5 of something I get asked a lot about, and that's my most complimented fragrances from women. So I'm going to be back in just a second with an honourable mention and then my top 5 for most complimented fragrances from women. So welcome back, boss buddies. Welcome back to the Luxury Fragrance Boss channel. I'm the Luxury Fragrance Boss. My name is Scott. For those of you that haven't subscribed yet, please do below if you enjoy the content. Otherwise, thank you for those of you that do support me already. Now, one of the most common questions that I get asked on a regular basis, especially on Instagram, I got a lot of sort of direct messages asking me, what are my top 5 fragrances that get compliments from women? So I thought it'd be fun to put together a top 5 compliment getters from women. Now I've done a top 5 most complimented fragrances, but that's just in general. So I thought it'd be good to put together the 5, or pick out the 5 of my fragrances that get the most compliments from women, or have done in the past. Whether it's sort of one wear and I've got a bunch of compliments out of them, or whether it's one that I wear regularly and get regular compliments from. So let's kick it off with one, as I said, a very sort of obvious mention, one that I don't really want to put in the top 5 because it's well known for getting compliments already, and that's of course Creed Aventus. I mean, this gets sort of mixed compliments. For some reason on the I think it's on Facebook groups and stuff like that. A lot of guys seem to think that this gets other compliments from other guys. For some reason, I don't really get that. I don't really get compliments from guys overall, unless it's a close friend of mine. Overall, when I get approached for a compliment, it's normally from women. I've not asked for that compliment. It's not like I'm sort of trying to get on top of anyone or anything like that so they can smell me. These are just people that pass me in the street, or people that I know in the office, and they're confident enough to come up to me and say that I smell nice, or ask me what I'm wearing. There's one fragrance though that does stand out as more compliments that I've got than any other fragrances, and that's definitely Creed Aventus. And I think most guys, or most people will agree with me that this is one of the most complimented out there. But for me, it's become a little bit sort of too overdone now. There's so many different copies of it, and it's so well known. Even I think it was about coming up to 3 years ago now, when I was in Miami, I got approached by girls in the pool that knew what I was wearing. They said, "Oh, you're wearing my favourite cologne. You're wearing Creed Aventus." I got approached by the I think it was the doorman or the bellboy at the hotel as well, just as we were leaving. He said, "Oh, you're wearing Creed Aventus, really nice." So when that starts to happen with me, I prefer a little bit of uniqueness. I prefer to have a little bit of air of mystery about me, and I prefer people to ask me what I'm wearing rather than actually be able to tell me what I'm wearing. So that is one of the reasons that I stopped wearing Creed Aventus. There's so many other different wonderful fragrances out there that will get compliments, and they're much more beautiful, and I think much more sort of complex or better smelling fragrances than Aventus. Personally, when I wear fragrances, I wear them for me. I wear them for my own enjoyment. I don't need somebody to compliment me to know that what I'm wearing I love. Like I said, I'm wearing it for me. That's all I wear them for. But let's get into our top 5 of, I guess, alternatives to Creed Aventus if you are looking for compliments from women. So in at number 5 is a wonderful fragrance that I got compliments on. This has also appeared in my most complimented fragrances, and it's also appeared in my beast mode fragrances as well. Now the reason for that is all the fragrances that I picked out, pretty much, first of all, as many of you know if you watch my channel regularly, I am a massive guy when it comes to performance. Now, when I'm spending the kind of money that I do on fragrances, I want to know that these fragrances are going to perform. I don't want to be worrying about the fact that their longevity is going to be sort of 2-3 hours. I want something that's going to last me all day and all evening. So, or all evening, sorry. So I never have to worry about sort of whether it's going to sort of die later on or anything like that. I want something that I'm going to be able to enjoy. Because that's the reason that I buy my fragrances. I buy them to enjoy it. If I get compliments, that's just an added bonus to me. But yeah, I buy them for my own enjoyment. So all of these are going to be top performers. So you're never going to have to worry about anything like that. Anything that I recommend on my channel, it's always based on performance. As well as being a sort of an incredible scent, because when I'm buying scents nowadays, I have to buy something I love. It's got to be something that I'm going to wear the second I do get a chance to do it, because I'm doing reviews every day, so I'm wearing different scents every day. So when it comes to sort of an evening where I do get a second chance, or get a chance to wear another fragrance, I want it to be something that's instantly going to jump to the front of my mind and say, that's the one I'm going to wear tonight. And that's what I do with, that's why I have the fragrances that I have in my collection. So moving into number 5, and Amber 5 is one of those fragrances I really want to add to my collection, and it's Amber Sky by Ex Nihilo. Now this is the most expensive out of the top 5, which is why it just sits in number 5. You're looking at around sort of $500 or £500 mark for this one. I can't remember the size of the bottle that you're going to get for that. I think it's around 50 ml, something like that. But this one's just a beautiful sort of, it's got a little bit of cleanliness to it. It's got some sort of musk in there, a tiny bit of jasmine, and there's some vanilla in there as well. But it's just such a beautifully blended fragrance. And this one really does capture compliments from women. There's something about this fragrance I found that even after sort of 4 or 5 hours, just still grabs attention. It's still got massive projection. Now, when I wore this to the office, it was after about sort of 4 or 5 hours. I've been off for some reason I've been out doing something else in the morning, and I went into the office in the afternoon. I got in there around 1 o'clock, bearing in mind I'd sprayed this on about 8 o'clock in the morning. But when I got in there, within an hour, 2 women walked past my office and stopped by and asked me what I was wearing. Now, bearing in mind the door to my office is probably around 8-9 feet away from from my desk. So, I mean, me being the other side of the desk, there's probably about 12 feet of projection that these women were smelling that after sort of 4 or 5 hours, maybe even 6 hours. So, I mean, it's definitely one that does get noticed. I mean, these women stopped by and asked me what I just sprayed in the office, thinking that it was something that I'd recently sprayed. And like I said, almost 5-6 hours ago is when I put it on. So, I mean, it definitely gets noticed. It's one that attracts women. I think it's probably that, I mean, when it was explained to me, they said it smells really clean. To me, I get sort of a musky vanilla from this with a tiny bit of jasmine, but obviously to a female's nostrils, this smells a lot cleaner. So, or maybe it just smells cleaner on me, but yeah, it is a beautiful, I mean, it's got some vetiver in there as well. Just to go over the notes, in the top, you've got bergamot, pink berries, and peony. In the heart, you've got jasmine, patchouli, and raspberry. And then in the base notes, you've got vetiver, leather, vanilla, and musk. And to me, it just makes a wonderful, sort of very masculine fragrance. And like I say, it's very, very well complemented by women, in my opinion, or women in my experience, I should say. So in number 5, we've got Amber Sky by Ex Nihilo. So number 4, I've chosen Labo Santal 33, which I actually own myself as well. This one, to me, is just such a beautiful fragrance. Although it's a unisex fragrance, to me it's more masculine than it is feminine, although it does smell very, very different on women to how it does on men. My wife's best friend actually wears this one as well. It smells completely different on her. It smells obviously much more feminine on her than it does on me. On men, this tends to go sort of very leathery, very sort of musky, quite a dirty sandalwood, and that's what I really love about it. I mean, this one was inspired by the look of the Marlboro Man, so sort of a cowboy, a very masculine cowboy, like with a leather saddle on his horse and stuff like that. So that, I mean, that's what I love about this one. It's kind of a dirty, gritty sandalwood, as opposed to sort of, sandalwoods tend to be very clean smelling fragrances, which I also do love as well, but I just love what Labo have done with this one and how they blended those sort of dirtier, sort of muskier notes to give it sort of a real uniqueness to it. I mean, just to give you some idea of the notes in this one, you've got cardamom, iris, violet, you've got Australian sandalwood and cedarwood, you've got papyrus, which also sticks out quite a lot in this one. You've got ambrox, leather accord, and then the musk as well. But this makes a beautiful, like I say, a beautiful sort of dirty, gritty sandalwood, definitely a very masculine fragrance, but this one does get a lot of compliments from women as well. I think probably because it is more of a unisex fragrance, so it's easier for women to sort of pick out something that they also love as well, which I'll talk about with the rest, pretty much the rest of my fragrances. My wife likes to steal them as well. So this one, my wife loves the way this smells on me. She doesn't wear this one herself. Like I say, her best friend wears it though, so I mean, this one is a very, very well complemented, and it's becoming a bit more recognized now. Not as recognized as maybe Aventus or anything like that, but it's definitely a sort of, I'd say it's a much more unique smell than Aventus. So, I mean, something I like in my fragrances as well is uniqueness, which is why I don't like to smell like everybody else, which is why I go for sort of, which is why I explore so many different sort of niche houses. I want something that nobody else has got. I'm wanting to go into a room knowing that I'm not going to smell like anyone else. So in number 4, you've got Santal 33 by Labo. So moving into number 3 now, this is a fragrance that's popped up in quite a few of my top 5s recently, and that's Molecule 01 by Escentric Molecules. Now, I mean, when it comes to compliments from women, obviously this is another unisex one. The rest of them can be worn by women as well as being sort of very manly fragrances. However, I mean, the special thing about this one is it does smell different on everybody else. Somebody also recently said to me, because there's mixed sort of opinions on this one as to sort of how it performs and things like that. And that goes with kind of all the molecule range, so 1 to 4. Depending on who you are and your skin type, it will depend on sort of how they react to you as well. So these are sort of very individualized fragrances as to how they react with your skin, but they're definitely worth trying out. And I'd say try out all 4. Out of the 4 though, my favorite so far is Molecule 01. Now this one is one that definitely gets noticed more by women when I'm wearing it. I don't think I've ever had a compliment from a guy when I've been wearing this one, but this is one that my wife loves to wear as well. The reason why the wife loves to wear it is because she doesn't like anything that's sort of too overpowering to herself. She can't actually smell this one on herself, yet it projects off her like crazy. I smell this one sort of great all day long, and it's very, very strong on me as well. So another reason that I love it, of course, because I love my beast mode fragrances. But one thing with this one is, as the same goes with all sort of Molecule 1 to 4, is they only have 1 ingredient in. That's why it's important to sort of try them all out. As I said, this is the one I find works best for me so far. I've still yet to try out 2 and 3. 4 didn't work for me at all. It was a skin scent, barely my wife could barely smell it on me. I could barely smell it like seconds after spraying it. Even after sort of a few hours, I couldn't smell it. Now, something I recently learned about this one as well, I believe his name's Marcus Schulz. I don't want to, sorry Marcus if I've mispronounced your last name. He told me that the ingredient in this one, which is ISO E Super, it responds well to sort of heat. So the hotter the climate you're in, or the hotter the temperature of wherever you're wearing this, it will tend to perform a lot better, which explains to me why, sort of living in the Caribbean, why this one works so well for me. So I mean, that's possibly why it works better for me than it does if you're in a sort of a cooler climate or anything like that. So, but I mean, it's definitely worth checking out. The first time I actually wore this, I had a sample of it and I wore it to the office. Within seconds of me sitting down at my desk, one of the women who works in our perfumeries walked past and she said, "Oh my God, what are you wearing?" So straight away, and like I say, my wife loves this one. I tend to get very, very good responses from women wherever I go wearing that fragrance. And like I say, it's just one of those fragrances that works really well for me. But yeah, definitely worth trying out 1 to 4 in the Molecules range. See which one you like best, because they all work very, very different for very different people. So and one thing as well, obviously it makes a fantastic, unique fragrance, because depending on how it reacts, it's going to smell different to you than it is on the next person. So in number 3, we've got Molecule 01 by Escentric Molecules. So number 2, one of my favorite fragrances here, and this is one that my wife loves to steal as well out of my collection. One that I had to wait a little while to get, because when I originally found it in San Francisco, they just sold the last bottle when I decided I wanted to buy it, and that's Penhaligons Halfeti. This one's an absolute beast mode fragrance. Again, this is another one that smells very different on women than it does on men, but to me, this is another one that works really, really well, and it gets attention from, I mean, this one gets attention from everyone really, but more so from women than anything else. I've been crossing the street and people being able to smell me wearing this one. I just love the uniqueness of this one. It's not like any other fragrance I've really smelled. I'd say if you're looking for something that's kind of similar, it's along the same vibe, not similar smelling, but it's along the same vibe as maybe Creed Viking. That's probably the closest thing I can think of in my collection, just because of the spices and sort of the citrusy notes that go in there that sort of give it a sort of a kind of cool warmth, if you will, if that makes any sense. But I mean, this is one that works well in sort of any kind of temperature as well, because you've got those warm notes in there for the cooler climates, and you've got those cooler notes in there for the warmer climates as well. So even in 85 degrees worth of heat like we have here in the Cayman Islands, this is one that still really, really works well for me. And I just love, like I say, I just love this one. This definitely, I'd have to put this in probably my top 3 fragrances that I've bought myself. Well, this one was actually bought for me rather than me buying it for myself. But yeah, it's just a wonderful blend of different notes in here. Like you've got some cooler notes, you've got lavender, you've got some barbershop notes in there as well, but then blended with sort of Turkish trade route notes, which is what it's based on, where it gets its name Halfeti. So the different trade routes that run between Turkey and London at the time. So in there you've got different kinds of spices. There's a little bit oud in there. This has got a lot of different ingredients, but they're blended so fantastically well. Out of smelling all of the Penhaligons fragrances, this is the one that just jumps out to me the most. When I discovered this one, I was actually in San Francisco and I went through all of their fragrances, and I've been through them all since. I can't find anything though that jumps out quite like this one, and that's probably why it sticks out so much when I'm wearing it on the street as well, and why women love it so much, because it is very, very unique. And like I say, it is very strong, so it does get a lot of attention. So in number 2, we got Penhaligons Halfeti. So in at the top spot is one of my most favourite fragrances that I've discovered this year. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get my hands on a full bottle just yet, which I'm a little bit upset about it, because basically my company was selling this for a little while, and we just sold the last couple of bottles, and we just found out we're not going to get any more of it. The reason for that is it will only be sold in boutiques now. This was the only one we did have for the Maison Francis Kurkdjian line, and that's Baccarat Rouge 540, and that's because I actually work for a Baccarat crystal retailer. So we had it for that reason, but now we no longer have the boutique, so it's sold as just in sort of part of a store. So unfortunately for that, Baccarat have decided to go forward with only selling this one in their boutique. So unfortunately I didn't manage to get my hands on it in time. We sold the last couple of bottles last week when I found out. But this is definitely one that I am willing to pay full price to get in the near future. So one thing I love about this one is this is pretty much, I'd say it's definitely more of a feminine fragrance, but this really does work well for guys. It's also got massive projection as well, and it does smell a lot. It smells very, very unique on guys. One thing I noticed when the first time I wore this, I actually walked through our perfumery stores, and the girls stopped to ask me what I was wearing, because they're so used to me wearing something, I'd say sort of woody or musky or something along those lines. So when they smelled something quite sweet on me, it sort of really threw them, and they didn't recognize the fragrance, even though they sell it on a pretty much daily basis. So it really took them by surprise, and they didn't believe me when I told them it was Baccarat Rouge 540, because to them it was a women's fragrance. So it's definitely one that stands out. Now, another time I wore this as well, I went out for the evening. I was actually hosting an event, a hotel concierge event here on the island for all the hotel concierges, of course. And that was a sort of 3 or 4 hour event. It was really, really hot in the venue that we had it at as well. The air conditioning just couldn't keep up, because there was like 200 people in this sort of, it was pretty much a restaurant, but the ceilings were quite low, and the AC just couldn't keep up. So I was very, very hot for most of the night. But however, we went to a bar afterwards, and straight away a woman walked up to me asking me what fragrance I was wearing, because she just absolutely loved it, and she wouldn't leave me alone for the evening. She wanted to keep smelling it. So I mean, I've only had fantastic, I'd say, attention from women whenever I've been wearing Baccarat Rouge 540, and that's the EDP version, by the way, as well, which I find has got bigger projection, and it definitely gets more compliments than I'd find the X-Straight. The X-Straight, although it should be stronger, it's actually a little bit softer, it's a little bit sweeter. My wife finds the X-Straight too sweet. Personally, I prefer it because it's a little bit smoother, but when it comes to compliments, the Eau de Parfum version is definitely the one to go for. So, I mean, you've got 5 absolutely amazing fragrances there, 5 quite different fragrances, really. When it comes to getting compliments from women, when it comes to getting compliments, don't go looking for compliments, I would say as well. Let compliments come to you. If somebody wants to compliment you, it depends on it can massively come down to your attitude towards other people. If you go around looking for them, you will find that you won't get them. If you go around telling people they smell nice just to get something back, you're not going to, that's not really a compliment, that's just hunting for it. But when it comes to, if it comes to the environment that you're in, if you're in an environment where everyone's friendly and everyone's getting along, so don't go looking for compliments. They will come to you if you're that kind of person. You're very social, and it also comes down to how confident the people are around you about how they are approaching you about something like that. I find women are much more likely to approach me about fragrances, unless it's a close friend of mine. Occasionally I'll get a male friend of mine ask me what I'm wearing. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's mainly women that will approach me on the street, especially in my past where I've been wearing Aventus. I've been approached so many times in supermarkets, on the street, wherever it's been, even in Miami as well, as I said. But yeah, so they're top 5 compliment getters from women. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed the top 5. Please let me know your top 5 compliment getters from when it comes to women as well. As usual, please like, comment and subscribe below. I'd love to hear your top 5s, as I said. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. That way you can keep up to date with everything that I've got going on. See pictures of the new kittens that me and my wife have just adopted. A couple of little rescue kittens. Don't forget to hit that notification button as well right below the screen. That way make sure you never miss another video of mine again, because I'm releasing them all the time. So other than that, stay smelling fantastic. I look forward to seeing you in my next video very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching.